Hey folks, what is going on? Hey, Nintendo just released some new fiscal information, and we're going to break it down because, ladies and gentlemen, it's business Justin time. All right. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the time of year. It's kind of like Christmas for me. I absolutely love this time of year, so we're going to dive right into it to break down what has happened. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause. Congratulations. Nintendo Switch has officially broke 100 million units sold. These results came out late last night, early this morning, and there's some things that we're going to dive into now. And very important couple things to remember here. These are results as of December 31st, 2022, which is Nintendo's Q3 in their fiscal year. So a lot of the reporting I'm going to provide to you is actually from October 1st through to December 31st. There's a lot of important games that came out at that time. So this has got some really great information we're going to break down. So first and foremost, Nintendo Switch has officially broken the 100 million mark, which is really important because the other console that I think we all consistently say was amazing and was kind of like in the the global consciousness was the Nintendo Wii, and so it has actually passed the Wii. The Wii was at 101. Nintendo Switch is now 103. Now, of course, you can make the argument, well, sure, look at Justin, it's half handheld, half home console, so really shouldn't we be adding like the 3DS numbers and the Wii numbers together? I could see that argument, but in this case, it's really important to note that it has now passed that 103 million mark. That is a huge, huge thing for Nintendo. So we can see, there you go, software sales, 766.41 million units. Now, when you even compare that over to the software on the Wii, which we can see down here at 921 million units. So what we're seeing here is we have more hardware in the wild, but not necessarily more pieces of software that have been attached to. So that'll be another number that Nintendo is definitely going to want to try and kind of attribute and really bolster up to kind of really make it a big success. That being said, though, you can't have software if you don't have the hardware. So the hardware install base is there. If they're looking to beat the Wii's software numbers, they need to continue to put out bangers, need to continue to put out tons of games to be able to reach that. Whether that's possible, tough to say. So let's now break down what this means for some sales data in regards to top selling games. Now, again, this is as of December 31st. No huge surprise here. Mario Kart Deluxe, 43.35 million, still sitting at the number one position. So again, folks, if you look at an attachment rate in regards to the number of hardware sold, this is about a 40%, give or take 43% attachment rate for Mario Kart 8. So almost 1 in 2 people, 1 in 2 Switches have this game, right? So this is crazy. Animal Crossing continues to thrive and grow, and we're sitting at number 2 in this position. I'm sure that the DLC helped to give it a really good boost. I said at one point I think Animal Crossing is going to surpass Mario Kart Deluxe. Obviously, I'm wrong here. This bump is not shocking here that we're seeing Mario Kart 8 kind of get a larger spacing there. You got to remember, this was Q3. This was October to December. Nintendo does a fantastic job of saying, here's great bundles, right? And so if you're a new purchaser, a new family member getting this for the holiday season, you're probably throwing in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That is an evergreen title for them that continues to generate revenue that they're going to continue to love. This number here, folks, is why, when we talk about where is Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart, whatever you want to call it, the next one, this is the reason. That gravy train keeps going. Why would we end it? So that's one of the things to be considered as well. Substantially down. 16 million units later, we can find ourselves at Smash Brothers, Breath of the Wild, right? Pokemon, Mario Odyssey, Mario Party, right? Pokemon. Now, this is interesting, right? We now have coming in here, we have Diamond, Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl, 13.97 million. This is such a great indication and such a great thing of why we have to understand the impact of Pokemon in regards to the Nintendo company. These games were out for a total of 6 weeks. 6 weeks, and they sold nearly 14 million units. That is massive for Nintendo. Again, look at your top 10. In your top 10 here, 3 of these games are from the Pokemon company. they sell absolutely magnificent. Of course they're going to. No big shock, but again, congratulations, 6 weeks out, and they are nearly knocking on 14 million. I suspect you're going to see them jump over Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee in the next cycle as well. Ring Fit Adventure continues to be a big one as well. So this is kind of the top games that Nintendo has. Now you might be asking, hey, these are fantastic things, but how did some of the other games? So this is kind of the overview of where they are holistically. Let's dive a little bit more into the quarter and that detail specifically. So as we actually push in here, we can see some early numbers here. Now, the numbers global sell-through by title April to December. So obviously the Pokemon numbers there are a little bit off. I need to verify why that is. But you can kind of see some of the sales numbers that ended up coming through here. Now, it says here that Metroid Dread came in at 2.3 million. I saw some other results today that it was 2.79 million. So just shy of knocking on 3 million. Still a very good entry in the Metroid series of games, a franchise. As memory serves, this is now the second best Metroid game sold through. So that's pretty fantastic for Nintendo. I'm sure they're very happy about that. Of course, that kind of stokes the fires and rumors that we've heard that Nintendo internally was happy with the sales of Metroid, and they want to continue that franchise going forward. Obviously, Metroid 4 being in development, Metroid Prime 4 in development. So they're going to want to continue to try and maybe capitalize on that momentum. So I think this is a great win. I mean, I had said before, I think it'll end up being 9 million. I was obviously wrong. Ouch, that hurts. So Justin was wrong, I guess. But a great showing from Metroid to start off as well. Another one we see here is Mario Party Superstars. Now, this came out of the back half of October. And again, they're saying 4.8 million. I think it's higher as well. I need to dive in and find some of these numbers a little bit further. Maybe. But still, that was 8 weeks. Really, we're counting here 8 weeks of that time. So that is not too bad at all to get. Again, we saw earlier, we saw from the data earlier over here, Mario Party, the original Mario Party sitting at 17 million. I suspect in a couple of years, we're going to see this other one, Mario Party Superstars, kind of get into that space as well. I would absolutely suspect that. Continued great growth. No shock again. Huge sales. Comparatively, the sales that we see here, right? So April to December and then October to December, how they ended up charting. So for 2022, this is a pretty good year for Nintendo. It actually looks like kind of their highest charting between October and December. Not a huge shock. Let's take another look at some other details that we may want to dive into. This is a little bit of an output of actually what the sales numbers looks like in regards to the actual hardware sale-through rate. Red line being the core Nintendo Switch, orange being the Lite, and then blue being the OLED. 2021 was a great year for sell-through rates in regards to the Nintendo Switch. And again, this isn't a huge shock, right? We saw the Lite come through, and I think, again, that's probably comparatively connected to Animal Crossing, so we saw a lot of that sales. And then we can see here how the OLED ended up kind of taking a little bit of that market share from the other consoles or so the other hardware units. Second highest level ever, despite scarcity due to production and distribution, especially in North America since Black Friday. So that's a really interesting kind of statement there that, hey, really great year despite some challenges in the supply chain. So it'll be interesting to see how that inevitably shakes out. And I think more and more what this chart right here, this fiscal year 2022, distribution of those three consoles, what that inevitably ends up looking like long term from now. Will OLED end up taking up more and more of that kind of core Nintendo Switch market space? It'll be very interesting to see. Annual playing users, just shy of 100 million over here from Nintendo. So that's really great. Cumulatively, Nintendo Switch sell-through has surpassed 1 million units. So they mentioned that there as well. So overall, folks, Nintendo had another fantastic year, not a huge shock. Great to see Metroid Dread performing well, not as well as I was really hoping for. It is knocking on 3 million. It will probably end up in the end shaking out at probably 3.5, I would suspect. OLED having a really great, strong start of the year. Again, if you think about it, the OLED did come out at the beginning of October, so this is only 3 months worth of data that they really are demonstrating here. And I think the other highlight, Pokemon continuing to be an absolute massive seller. For Nintendo. So not a shock. Interested to see what the Pokemon Arceus numbers will inevitably look like. We're going to hear about that at the end of March 2022, which will be the end of their fiscal year. So we're going to hear about that in the grand total of their fiscal calendar. But I think both those two properties from Pokemon are going to have a huge jump. So not a huge shock there as well. The other interesting thing that I will say has come out, I've seen some articles about it as well. Nintendo president saying we're only halfway through the life cycle of the Switch. We're just barely over halfway. I know people on the internet like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? This should not be a shock, folks. Nintendo is obviously making absolute bank. They have a hot product. They're selling through. They have a lot of people buying their hardware and software. This is the money train. This is the gravy train. Do not disrupt. Do not shake. Do not rock the boat. So they are going to run that as far as they absolutely can. Are they in development of their next console? 100% they absolutely would be. But they understand, this is, I'm sure the Nintendo has flashbacks to the Wii was a juggernaut. We made bank. We did such great. We had mind share. We had clout. We had goodwill. We made a wrong step, and we ended up with the Wii U, and that was a huge disaster. We don't want to do that. Let's be very strategic. Let's be very mindful. Let's continue on this train that is successful for us until inevitably we have to make that decision. I think what you're going to see probably if Nintendo is indeed saying this is like halfway through our cycle, we know we have some bangers coming out in 2022. Breath of the Wild 2, Splatoon 3, right? There's a rumor of a Donkey Kong game. There's a rumor of a Mario Kart game. You have got Kirby coming out, right? We just had Arceus, Mario and Rabbids, right? So there's a ton of games coming through. I think what Nintendo is going to have to do if they indeed want to prolong this way past, we're only in a halfway cycle or halfway through the year life cycle of this product, they need to start looking in that back catalog. They need to start looking at other games, and I think they're going to start experimenting. Obviously, there's this kind of switch factor, which are giving a lot of their properties really solid boosts. Where is our Pikmin 4? Where is Star Fox? Could we see the return of F-Zero? Looking in the kind of the back closet and saying, what can we maybe pull out to extend this life cycle? And then, of course, how do we end up competing with Xbox and PlayStation in this marketplace? And I'm going to say it, and I know you're going to hate me hearing it, probably more cloud infrastructure to be able to be playing third-party developer games to continue to make the Nintendo Switch a very viable product and kind of keep lockstep with some of those other platforms. These are probably strategies they're going to do, and obviously investing heavily in their Nindies and Indies partners. Those are a couple of things that I think of at least. Folks, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these financial results? What game are you hoping Nintendo pulls out from the back closet and dusts off? Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you're new here, click like and subscribe. And hey, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.